Okay, so we're ready to jump into the homework here. Let's go ahead and start with number 1. Write a function rule that represents each sentence. Number 1, 5 less than 1/4 of x is y. Okay, there's one thing I want to add to our notes. When you see the word is, it usually or very often means equals. So when you find the word is, there's a good chance you just found where your equal sign is going to be in your equation. All right, so when it says is y, it's literally going to be equals y. Okay, 5 less than. We know that less than, which is up here, it means subtract. Okay, 5 less than. But here's what you have to ask. 5 less than what? That can be tricky. Okay, I'm going to write a version of it, and then we're gonna see if it makes sense. So I know that 5 less than means subtract. So 5 less than. I'm not telling you I'm doing this right. I'm telling you this is what I see people do. This is a literal 5 and then less than means subtract, right? 1/4 of x. Well, 1/4 is just the fraction 1/4. The word of means multiply. So 1/4 times x. So it's almost like we have an equation already. 5 minus 1/4 x equals y. But this isn't right. Okay, because let me put it this way. Let's say that you're 15. Okay? Let's say you're 15 years old. I'm going to do a little side thing. So you are 15 years old. And your cousin is 5 years less than you. So I would literally say cousin is 5 years less than you. If I did it the way I have here, I would write it like this. Your cousin is 5 years less than your age. Now that doesn't make any sense. That gives me -10. Okay? So even though I'm saying my cousin is 5 years less than me, I'm not writing it in the order I'm saying it. And that's where it gets tricky. I have to start with your age. And for your cousin to be 5 years less than you, you have to put the -5 on the end. So your cousin is positive 10 years old, right? That's what we run into here. When I have 5 less than, you have to ask yourself 5 less than what? This is the what? 5 less than whatever this is. So I am actually writing my 1/4 x first, and I'm taking 5 away from that. So it's 1/4 x, but it's not really 1/4 x. It's 5 less than 1/4 x. That's how you do it. Okay? Is y. And that's the correct equation for that. All right? I'll zoom in a little bit. Okay, the next one. 7 more than the quotient of a number in and 4. This one is the same thing. It's like the 7 more than, the +7 comes on the end. But with addition, since you can add in any order, I could do 3 plus 2 is the same as 2 plus 3. The order doesn't matter. With subtraction, the order matters a great deal, right? I'm going to stay in the same train of thought, and I'm going to make sure to put the 7 more than at the end. So you have to ask yourself 7 more than what? This is the what? Oh, by the way, I'm doing an even problem for free, I guess. Okay, so maybe I'll skip an odd in a minute. 7 more than the quotient of a number in and 4. So here's the first thing I have to do, and then I do 7 more than that, right? So the quotient of a number in and 4. So what does quotient mean? It just means divide, right? Division is quotient. Let me zoom back out. Okay, so to get the quotient of a number in and 4, it's just n over 4. Do not use the division symbol that you used in middle school. That's pretty much dead and gone. We're not using that much at all, ever. If so, very, very rarely. This is how you show division in algebra. The quotient of a number n and 4 is 9, but it's actually not really the quotient. It's 7 more than that. So I put the 7 more on the end. So this reads 7 more than what? Oh, the quotient of a number n and 4 is 9. All right, that's how you do those. Okay, since I did 2, I'll go ahead and have you do 3, and I'll go ahead and do 5. All right, so you do 3 and 4 on your own. Number 5, 1.5 more than the quotient of a and 4. It's very similar, right? Let's see. That's actually almost the exact same thing as number 2. Why don't you guys do number 5? And I'll go ahead and do number 3. I guess I'm going back. P is 9 more than half of Q. Well, what does half mean? Half means you can either divide it by 2 or you can multiply it by a half. All right? The word of means multiply, so you could literally multiply by the fraction half, which is what I'm going to do. So P is, it's telling me P equals 9 more than what? That tells me the 9 more than, like the previous one, goes on the end. 9 more than what? Half of Q. When you just put your half and your Q together, that's already indicating multiplication. So P is 9 more than half of Q. Half times Q. There it is. All right? Go ahead and do 4 and 5. Let's do 6. No, let's do 7. Write a function rule that represents each situation. Okay, babysitter's earnings, E, are a function of the number of hours in worked at a rate of $7.25 per hour. The word rate, we already said earlier, it's one of the words up here that means division, right? There is division involved, but let's just look at it in a little bit more detail. So a babysitter's earnings, E, are a function of the number of hours in. So you have hours going on. And you have the rate of $7.25 per hour. Now, I'm going to go into another word that was not on our list. It's the word per. The word per is a really good indicator of finding my slope value in y equals mx plus b. When you see the word per, there's actually 3 words, and it's actually funny. It spells, of all things, it spells P. And I will tell you all year, do you remember how to P? I hope you do. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, do you remember that these 3 words help you find the slope in a linear equation? Those words are per, each, and every. And you know what? They're interchangeable. I could say $7.25 each hour. I could say $7.25 every hour. But in this case, I say $7.25 per hour. That's giving you an indicator that the $7.25 is my rate of change, which is literally my M number or my slope number. We're going to learn all those words this year, okay? So my $7.25 is going to be multiplied by something. Well, what is it multiplied by? It's multiplied by the number of hours, okay? So $7.25 times the number of hours, which they want to use the letter N. So what does that equal when you multiply the $7.25 times all the hours? It equals the earnings. E is equal to $7.25 times N. I want you to just start seeing early in the year, this is just a form of the pattern y equals mx plus b. There's no number on the end because if she doesn't work any hours, she doesn't get any money. So there's no starting value. The starting value is 0. But this is basically the first of many, many, many times you're going to see this pattern in a word problem. Okay, so the price P of a club's membership is $30 for an enrollment fee and $12 per week. W to be a member. I'm not going to do this one because it's even, but I want to go ahead and point out, here's the word per. That's part of your equation. And this is another part of the equation. Use everything I just said about this pattern and put these numbers in the right place. Okay? The word per tells you that these words help you find the slope. All right? So use that and come up with that one. Let's take a look at number 9. A plumber's fees, F, are $75 for a house call. Okay? And by the way, this is almost the exact same problem as number 8 that we just looked at, and I'm going to do this one. $75 for a house call and $60 per hour H for each hour worked. Okay? Again, do you know how to P? You're learning how to P right now. Well, hopefully not right now. That kind. Okay. But you're learning how to use the words per, each, and every to find the slope, the y equals mx plus b. Okay, so when I see $60 per hour, I'm already thinking, oh, that's probably 60x. There's probably 60x. 60 is probably my slope. And x must represent hours, right? Well, if that's the case, then where in the world does 75 go? 75 I call my one-time fee. They only charge the $75 one time for the house call. The letter B has a little built-in 1, a built-in number 1 in the letter. The $75 is the thing that happens once. Okay? It happens at the beginning of the situation. That stands for the B also. Okay, so my finished equation, $60 per hour, that's $60 times my hours, plus my one-time fee of $75. So my fees are equal to $60 times the number of hours you're out there plus the house call. That's my y equals mx plus b equation. Let's do 11. These do not have a pattern. These age problems, you just have to read very carefully and figure it out. And the other thing on this one is they're going to ask us to actually solve something now. The other ones, we were just setting up an equation, but now we're going to solve something. Jose is 3 years younger than 3 times his brother's age. Write a rule that represents Jose's age, J, as a function of his brother's age, B. After we do that and get the rule, we're going to answer, how old is Jose if his brother is 5? Okay, let's get the rule first. Jose is 3 years younger than 3 times his brother's age. Let's go ahead and write out that Jose's age is J. So J equals Jose's age. B equals the brother's age. So anytime I'm dealing with Jose's age, I'm using J. Anytime I'm dealing with the brother's age, I'm using B. All right? Jose is. Remember is? Is means equals. Now when I say Jose is, I could also think of it as Jose's age is. I'm writing J equals. That says, that's just the math way of saying Jose's age is. Jose is 3 years younger. How do you go smaller? Younger would be -3. Okay, so there's a -3 somewhere in there. But you have to ask that same question. 3 years younger than what? Whenever you have to ask the question, then what, that means this -3, or this part here, is not happening immediately. It's happening after the what. 3 years younger than what? Then 3 times, 3 times is literally 3 times, times symbol there, His brother's age. Oh, his brother's age is B, right? Jose is 3 less than. Oh, 3 less than what? 3 less than 3 times his brother's age. J equals 3B minus 3. That's it. We have the equation. Now, let's solve for, well, what if the brother's age is 5? B is 5. What is 3 times 5 minus 3? 3 times 5 is 15. Minus 3 is 12. Jose is 12 when his brother is 5. Okay? Because he's not 3 years younger than his brother. He's 3 years younger than 3 times his brother's age. So Jose is kind of a surprise. Jose is actually the older one. Okay? Jose is 12. Okay, let's skip 12. That's for you. 13. Write a function rule for the area of a rectangle whose length is 4 inches more than its width. All right? This, you have to bring in some prior knowledge. You have to know how to find the area of a rectangle. Area of a rectangle is length times width. Okay? So that's something you just have to come into high school knowing, right? If not, well, you can Google it or you know, find it somewhere. But it's not, this will not always be given to you anymore. So, area of a rectangle whose length, how are we going to represent length? L equals length. And W equals width. The length is 4 inches more than. Oh, I'm asking that question again. 4 inches more than what? That means the 4 inches more than, which means plus, is happening on the end. 4 inches more than something. 4 inches more than its width. Oh, okay. So the length is 4 inches more than the width. What is the area of the rectangle when the width is 8? All right, now, so how do we find the area of the rectangle? Well, area of a rectangle is length times width. So we have something that represents length. Here's my length. And we happen to know the width is now 8. How can we represent the area of the rectangle? Well, we can solve for length now that we know that width is 8. That would go right here. So what is 8 plus 4? That would be 12. So my length is 12. And now we could do 12 times 8, right? And there you go. That would be 96. So my area of my rectangle is 96. One more. Okay, write a function rule for the area of a triangle with a base 2 meters less than 4 times its height. Okay, let's draw a triangle. When you get into these weird shapes and you need to sometimes visualize what's going on. Here's my base. Here's my height. Okay, so I'm going to say B is equal to base and H is equal to height. Write a function rule for the area of a triangle. You need to know, what is the area of a triangle? The area of a triangle is equal to half base times height. Or rather, something that you should have memorized in middle school. Okay, so now we're going to use that, knowing the base is 2 meters less than. Base is 2 meters less than. 2 meters less than what? Something here. So I'm going to do my 2 meters less than. 2 meters less than what? Then 4 times its height. 4 times the height. So the base is 2 meters less than 4 times the height. That finds my base. Now, I can find what's the area of the triangle when the height is 8. Okay, well, I put 8 right here. 4 times 8 minus 2. 8 times 4 is 32. Minus 2 would be 30. So if my height is 8, my base is 30, and my equation is area is equal to half base times height, half of 30 times 8. Okay? So you could do that in your calculator easily, or I'll just do it real quick with that one. 8 times 3 is 24, so 8 times 30 would be 240. And half of 240, half of 200 is 100, half of 40 is 20. So the area would be 120 square meters. Okay? You'll do 19 on your own, and you'll do everything that I did not do on your own. Good luck.